Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's up, my Hijra family? It's your boy Hamza Abu Dalia from the channel Hamza's Hijrah. In the last video, we discussed about what happened on my trip to Ghana and Dubai and the travel bug, as they say. And I gave you a brief rundown of what happened there. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what happened the first time I went to Egypt. My younger brother, I don't think he will mind me mentioning his name, Ismail. He has a YouTube channel called Muslim Reel. Muslim Reel, R-E-E-L. I think it's spelled, or R-E-A-L. He has a podcast. Go and check him out. But my brother Ismail, my younger brother by 2 years, he and the Jamaat, a couple of brothers amongst the Jamaat that he was with, made Hijrah to Egypt. Yeah. And we wasn't in that much contact, but you know, every time he would come back, we'd discuss it. Any time the brothers would come back for work or whatever to visit their families or whatever, they would come back and discuss Egypt and all this kind of stuff. So I was still married to this young lady at the time. And I said, no, I'm gonna go and see my brother, man. I'm gonna go and check out my brother. So at the time, I think my brother had been there for about 5 years, because he was there in total for 9. Yeah. So I think he might have been there 5-6 years when I finally got the chance to go out and visit him. Yeah. And we stayed in the very famous, renowned Nasser City. Yeah, so we arrived at the airport, got our visas, he collected us, went round to his family, saw my nieces and nephews and all that kind of stuff. And then he rented an apartment for us in Nasser City. Yeah. And it was like nothing we had ever experienced before. Whoever's been to Cairo, Nasser City especially, will know the hustle, the bustle, the fumes, the traffic, and it was like, wow. But again, this was, I think by that time, it was my 3rd experience of living or staying in a Muslim country, yeah, where the population was predominantly Muslim. Because don't forget, I went to Sudan, then I went to Dubai, and now I'm in Egypt. Yeah. So we done all the pyramids. We went to Giza. I went all to the pyramids. My brother took us around. I met up with some of the brothers who I knew from the UK who were out there. They were telling us, and that was my first spark. That was my first spark of believing, you know what? Because I think what actually turned the boat for me, or and I don't know is best, but what I think turned the corner for me is the fact that brothers that I was in the deen with in the UK, they were the ones now telling me, Egypt is the place, bro, you should come. Yeah? Because of keda wa keda wa keda wa keda, because of this, because of that, because of this, because of that. Yeah? And it was at that point, and Allah knows best, but I think it was at that point that I thought, you know what? I want some of this. I want some of this. But again, like I was saying before in the first 2 videos, nothing happens before its time. Because at that point, it was like, yeah, I'd like to come and do this. Because full transparency, the woman that I keep calling the woman and not sister. The reason why I keep calling her that woman I was married to is because we would what we'd call her Ahlul Kitab. She wasn't a Muslim, but she was. I was hoping, inshallah, that, you know, because anyway, she wasn't a Muslim. So, you know, she was sympathetic. You know, we had an agreement that if we had any children, they would be brought up Muslim and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I took a leap of faith, as they say, and I thought, oh, let's try this then. So we got married. So anyway, so it was kind of, she kind of, I'm hoping that our experiences, even in Ghana, because I think we was out there for Eid al-Adha, and in Ghana it was a national holiday. Roadblock, everything, news announcements, happy Eid al-Adha to the Muslims. I went out there to Jummah and all that kind of stuff. I think the family members, none of them were Muslim, they were Christian, but I believe our family members knew Muslims. When we went to Dubai, was one of her first experiences of meeting a brother that I was in the same Jamaat with in the UK, and how he'd moved on, and he was in Dubai, and my wife got to speak to his wives, and so the kind of Islamic experience she was open to. I was hoping, instead of me telling her you should, I'm thinking, okay, the people that I introduce you to and the environment that I put you amongst, I'm hoping that will open your heart, or Allah will open your heart and you'll become Muslim one day. So that was the plan. Of course, we would have discussions about it at home and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't exactly you should, you need to. It's never that. Yeah. So anyway, kind of lost track. Yeah, but anyway, so when I'm in Egypt now, I'm thinking, that's when the first spark, I'm thinking it actually is a possibility, because these brothers here that I know from the UK, they're in Egypt now, and they're living an all right life. Yeah. Kids are learning Quran. The brother that we went to go and see, his house was right above, like, he lived in a block of flats, and you come down the block of the flats and the gate to the masjid was just there. So the minaret was right by his balcony. So it was that type of thing. And even where we stayed in a high-rise block of flats in Nasser City. Yeah. And beneath the block of flats was a musalla, was a masjid. Yeah. And actually, alhamdulillah, I met the landlord. I met the brother that owns the building. Yeah, he actually spoke to me. He said, because I think he knew my brother. He said, you're the brother. He said, yeah, alhamdulillah, welcome, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome to Egypt, blah, 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 blah. So that was my first spark that thought, you know what? This is actually a possibility. Yeah. So, and even my wife at the time was saying, yeah, I kind of like Egypt. Yeah. So hear what we did. We came back to the UK. Yeah. And we're all hyped up about Egypt, because my brother's saying, come, I'm here, I've got you. Yeah, don't worry, man, I've got you. So the announcement came. I'm expecting my first child with this woman. Happy. But now I'm like, all right, well, you know what we said? We are leaving, and it looks like Egypt is the place. So when I'm backwards and forwards with my brother, and we're talking about this and talking about that. And obviously my wife is pregnant now. I believe I believe she was 7 or 8 months pregnant. And we decided to take my mother and my mother-in-law. Yeah, because my brother-in-law was actually living out there as well. Yeah. So we decided to take them out there, because we had announced to the family, that's it, we're going to Egypt. Yeah. And again, ikhwan. Yeah. And ikhwat. Yeah. The niyyah to say, I'm making hijrah for my Lord, still wasn't a thing. Still wasn't a thing. Even up until now, still wasn't a thing. It was about moving me and my family to a place that's more congenial to my religion. Yeah, like the hadith says, that person that makes hijrah for a woman is making hijrah for a woman. That person that makes hijrah for his Lord is making hijrah for his Lord. I missed that bit. I forgot all about that bit. So anyway, we went to Al-Rihab. Al-Rihab is the gated city in Cairo. Anybody that's been to Anybody that's been to Nasser City would have been to Rehab. Rehab was one of the first gated cities complex in there. So when I got there, it wasn't as it is now. Now it's like cram jam. Like the roads are not wide enough. There's too many people living in. When I went there, it was in its early stages. Beautiful. So we rented an apartment. We rented an apartment in our Rehab, and just to let our mothers know, listen, well, for me to let my mother-in-law know, your grandchild and your daughter will be fine because this is the environment that we're going to be living in. Yeah? And I'm going to tell you a story. We're sleeping, it's at night. It's at night. And I hear a thud. Boom. So I jump out of my bed because instinctively I knew something was wrong. So I've come out in the hallway, and unfortunately my mother-in-law is on the floor. She got up in the night, slipped, snapped her ankle, her wrist. Okay. So I've called my brother, and we found there's a clinic, 24-hour clinic in Rehab. So we've gone there. They've wrapped up my mother-in-law's hand, yeah, and they've said, look, we can secure it, but we're going to send you to a hospital. You have to excuse the noise because it's raining quite heavily outside. But anyway, we're going to send you to the hospital. Yeah, I think this happened about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She snapped her wrist. We took her to the clinic. The clinic have bandaged it, and they said, look, you need to go take her to the hospital. We've got a taxi, and took her to the hospital. Yeah, took her to the hospital. Yeah, doctors have come out. They've x-rayed her. Yeah, they've come out, showed her the pictures of the x-ray and say, look, you've got to do this. We're gonna have to put a hand in a cast, this, that, and the other. They couldn't understand English. There wasn't an English barrier, a language barrier, right? Bandaged my wife up, x-rayed her, consultant come to see her, bandaged her hand, sent us home. Now remember I was saying before that this happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah? We went through the whole lot and we were back home by 11, yeah? So that's going to the clinic, seeing a specialist in the clinic, getting the hand temporarily bandaged until we got to the hospital, going to the hospital, putting my mother in a room, consultant coming to see her, examine her, sending her for a x-ray, coming back after the x-ray and discussing what they suggest that should be done, it being done, and getting home. 6 hours. Yeah. And the cost at the time, I think for the hospital treatment, was something like 40 UK pounds. And a little bit extra on top for taxes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And here's the thing. My mother-in-law was a head nurse. Yeah. She's retired. She was a retired head nurse. Yeah. And she couldn't sing praises high enough for the treatment that she received, the politeness of the nurses and the politeness of the doctors. So to me it was like, see, this is where your daughter's going to be and this is where your grandchild's going to be. Everything's cushy. This is how I'm going to look at. So everything was nice. So that to me was like a sign, okay, this is going to be the place. My mum loved the place. My mother actually had been out there, 7 times previously, because she'd fly backwards and forwards to see my brother. Yeah, but she'd never been to rehab before. Yeah, so when she saw that and we went through that little bit of drama, yeah, she felt all right. She felt a little bit relaxed. Okay, my grandchild is here, my daughter-in-law is going to be here. Obviously, what happened to my mother-in-law showed her what could possibly happen in a situation where something needed to be taken care of. So, came back to the UK. That was the plan. We're going to Egypt. We're going to Egypt. So in the next video, I'm going to tell you exactly what the plan was and how that transpired. So until then, my family, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.